how do you define culture?
So culture is in a particular geographical area. If we say define the people, what language they follow, like religion, what is the status of women, or in terms of what they perceive, how they sir, it could be simply said as the way of life, like sir, their language, festival could be, sir, one aspect of it. How do they interact with each other? So these are the things which majorly, sir, included in culture of a place. So
Okay, so in geopolitics, what is the role of culture? Can you give one or two instances where culture influences geopolitics or geopolitics influences culture?
So culture has a very important role in terms of how a country, sir, promotes its power. Sir, culture becomes important because there is one thing which is hard power, then there is soft power. Hard power, sir, uses coercive military means, but sir, soft power uses culture. For instance, sir, United States has used its culture of it is said, sir, that, for instance, McDonald's, Walmart, these things to spread all over the world. And now, sir, it has become the uh, since recently it was a unipolar hegemon in the all over the world. And sir, India also, sir, has promoted this through yoga, sir, is one example. Other than that, sir, there is the idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is also, sir, a part of our culture.
What about China? What is the role
So,
of Chinese culture in the Chinese geopolitical ambitions?
So China also has used culture as a important tool. And sir, in the soft power index, China was ranked higher than India. Sir, and sir, the culture aspect one is that the Confucianism, the philosophy of Confucian, which was given in China, there is Han Chinese culture, which also, sir, China tries to promote. Apart from this, sir, recently Xi Jinping launched the Global Civilizational Initiative. So this also included the culture of China. For instance, sir, apart from this, sir, the leaders also, starting with the Mao Zedong, Hu Jintao, so they also promoted a sense of cultural power all over the world. So one was the Middle Kingdom theory, sir. And sir, revival of Silk Route under Xi Jinping is also, sir, could be traced back to Chinese culture, sir.
So, this so-called Western culture, we
Sir,
all know that it is said that there is so much of Westernization, influence of Western culture.
sir.
Why did Indian culture not make similar impact on the West? The way Western culture made impact on the East or Oriental. So, Indian Americans, living in America, so one of the wealthiest people. I think they also do carry our tradition and values there. But
Yes.
in the reverse side, we do not see the equal level of impact of our culture and the Western peoples.
Sir, I could think that there is not one reason to this. So first, China, United States, if we take example how United States promoted its culture, or for instance, European countries. So European countries could be seen that they use colonization as a tool to make their culture a part of these countries. For instance, sir, countries in Africa, for instance, South Africa or India. So they promoted the, for instance, education system, English language, English literature, these things. But sir, India did not have this approach, or I would say colonization. But sir, if I talk about United States, so it was not just because their culture became their symbol or a part of hegemony, because they had profound economic power, sir. So, sir, economic power and the political influence pushed their culture more closer, rather than, sir, countries like Global South or India doing vice versa in their countries, sir.
So capitalism has a role to play here.
Yes, sir, definitely so.
Okay. So if India becomes economic powerhouse in the future, uh,
So,
do you think we will have that power to influence other cultures?
Sir, I on an optimistic note, sir, I would say that India has a power to influence the culture, E- even if it's right now. Although we do not have much economic influence, although
But
we are
there
a
is
big
another angle, right? I mean, there is this angle that
sir,
our culture is superior and your culture is not so
sir,
superior. Uh,
yes, sir,
the notion that we are more civilized, our culture is more evolved. Does it
sir.
also play a role?
Sir, somehow definitely it plays a role that we are more civilized, you are less civilized, and this was also used by sir European powers, for instance, sir white man's burden, etc. But sir, Indian stance has been on a more positive note. So that is inclusive way of life. So we are promoting yoga. For instance, sir, Arabia has a profound yoga promotion councils conducted by the government itself. So sir, that is the one thing where our culture is promoting a positive thing rather than making other cultures look down upon. So,
So we were not able to produce, big corporates or MNCs, which
so,
could go to these big countries or developed countries and influence the
so
culture there. The way you give example of Walmart or McDonald's, right?
yes.
Can you tell me why we have failed in this regard?
So MNCs as a mostly so they are a part of the manufacturing sector, and manufacturing sector in India's economy is less than 15%. So that becomes one reason. Apart from this, sir, our if unicorns, we have 100 plus unicorn startups, yet their presence is largely limited to sir India only, because sir we have a big market of more than 150 crore people. So there is, I think, very little need or requirement that we make our operations abroad. And Indians also, sir, for instance, if there are high net worth individuals, so they also prefer to go abroad. Mostly, they have went and became CEO of major companies. There, for instance, Google, Apple, etc. So these are the reasons that why India is not able to produce MNCs who have all over world presence.
What is the history of guitar? Where did it originate and how did it evolve?
So the guitar, as far as I had read, sir, was uh, a part of guitar was also sir in India, but it was not purely could be said as guitar, as it was sir, it was called as sitar or as part of it. So, but guitar is a more evolved instrument. It was mainly, sir, could be traced back to Spain, and so there were several types of guitar which emerged there in history. And sir, over the years, it has evolved and taken various types. For instance, there is acoustic guitar, there is electric guitar as well, and then there are other types. For instance, there is a small guitar known as uke or ukulele. So these have also emerged. So,
So what do you have to say about you know is it a fashion or is it a passion when it comes to youth today uh, to follow the Western culture, or, whether it is music, whether it is movies, whether it is dress. Is it a point of concern, or should we say that this is a normal course of evolution of culture, where we don't have to worry. So our core ethos will always remain strong. So these are just one following their passion or something.
sir, as you mentioned, sir, I would agree that if the core ethos of our own culture and civilization, we are having that in our mind, so I don't think so there is anything wrong in following other cultures and learning from it. So if there is anything positive, we should be an open civilization and have open. I think we should be an open society and adopt what positivity we could get all over the world, from all over the world. But sir, uh, here we need a caution that we should not look down upon our own culture and feel that our culture is uh, not of that much value as per as
Because
Western culture.
we don't see similar passion for our own instrument. Let us say sitar or veena, right? I mean, we don't see youth passionately going after it, creating music out of it. So have you failed
So,
to capitalize our own culture to make it more popular within our country?
so I see that the modern forms of so that also depends on the taste of the audience. So we as a country has evolved as a society also. So there is if few part of the population are liking our traditional music, for instance, Carnatic music or Hindustani music, then there are also population, particularly youth, who are sir, following the Western music, etc. So a musician or a guitarist sir has to follow that course if he or she wants progression in his career, sir. Sir, apart from this, I also see that Indian culture and Indian music instrument sir also are becoming prominent with the coming of sir new series. So there is a evoking of our own culture as well. For instance, sir, there was a series Bandis Bandits on Netflix. So it was a very viral and it showcased that how Hindustani music could also be viewed in that light. So,
What is the difference between global order and international order?
sir, international order as scholars define, so that becomes how actors, norms, and processes between countries. So, if countries we take as actors, how they interact with each other and who has got more influence than other. So, order could be defined in terms of if we define liberal order, then so it would be that United States is the prime actor. But if we talk about global order, then a universal organization. Sir, as far as I'm able to recall, I think, sir, global order we mean the universal actor led order. So it could be United Nation. One country does not have much influence in this order. It is a actor, a universal actor, which has got the primacy, sir.
Are you sure about this difference?
Sir, about international order, I'm sure, but sir, global order, I think I need to look at it. So.
Okay. What about India having a disturbed neighborhood, having the neighborhood where there are uh, new issues keep coming up. So recently, Bangladesh has become a problematic region now. So having such kind of neighbors, will we
So,
ever be able to influence or have a say in how either global order or international order shapes out?
sir, our disturbed neighborhood definitely creates problem for us, and in particularly, sir, regional stability is an important factor if a country has global aspirations. But sir, there is also an angle of China. China wants to contain India into events of South Asia so that it does not become a global power or has aspirations of pursuing that. Apart from this, sir, the neighborhood is always I think, sir, disturbed if there is a change of government which is not in favor of India. It happened in Maldives, in Nepal, in Bangladesh, Pakistan, sir, it is always there. So, in that regard, I think, sir, what India needs to do is requires a patience, strategic patience, and deft handling in terms of if there is a government, sir, we need to also engage with the opposition parties and not just one party. We were engaging with Sheikh Hasina's government, and now there is a change of government, and there is Yunus there. So that creates a complicated situation for India to navigate. And I think we need patience, patient diplomacy to handle such situations. So,
Okay, see the approach of Donald Trump when it comes to the neighborhood issues
so
has been radical. Now he is talking about making Canada 51st state,
yes,
and
sir.
he wants to even by force, capture
Yes.
Panama Canal or even the
So,
Greenland, right? So saying the one reason he's saying that strategically important, and he would like to reduce the money that they are spending as subsidies, on these countries, right?
sir.
Uh, should we be aggressive like that with respect to our own neighborhood?
Sir, I believe we should not. It is not. It has not been a part of India's foreign policy since inception or independence. We have seen doctrines like Indira doctrine, peaceful existence, and then there was Gujarat doctrine of non-reciprocity, and also, sir, under the Modi government's
But if it
regime,
is going to benefit, why not go with the unconventional thinking and
sir, I see it would not benefit India because, sir, if we go by aggression, sir, it would create instability in the region, and India also would not be viewed as a credible power. Right now, India is viewed as a credible power. Many countries of the global south trust us. And sir, if we go
Israel,
aggressive,
Israel, Israel is attacking, the neighboring countries with impunity, right? With no accountability,
sir,
total disregard for what other countries think about its reputation, right?
sir,
Israel, comparatively a small country, maybe advanced scientifically, economically, but
sir,
it has that freedom to uh, hit, whether it
sir.
is Lebanon or Yemen or Palestine. So why should we be worried about our reputation?
I think sir, Israel had different circumstance than India. So it was a country created by different sessions. There was a UN peace process. These circumstances are not present in India's case, sir. Although India also faces brunt of terrorism, cross-border terrorism,
So
etc.
whatever be the history, but Israel is not worried about the consequences, how the international community treats it. In
So,
fact, the United States want to sign, a $10 billion arms deal with Israel.
so,
Right. So why we as a nation so much worried about reputation and how the world perceives us as a responsible power or something like that?
so first is, sir, India has an aspiration of becoming a global power and the influence in the region itself. We want that South Asia at least should be viewed that India has a primacy in it. And so if we take a aggressive stance, this would make us incredible and no country in the neighborhood would trust us. And that would create trust deficit and it will ultimately harm India only, sir.
Okay.
So,
So we have seen that, like for many decades, these problems, especially with respect to Pakistan and, China, have remained unresolved with all our efforts. Right.
so
So all the peaceful means have failed. In the past few wars also have failed. Right. So what is the way forward when countries are kind of adamant and they're hell bent? I mean, we see that Pakistan sending containers, army people to Bangladesh, trying to capitalize on the situation immediately. But we are not
so
aggressive. The Pakistan can be aggressive. So why is not India? What is the solution for problems like that?
So India has a policy towards Pakistan that if it continues terror across the border, we cannot have talks or trade. Trade talks and terror cannot go together. This has been our stance. However, so sir, I think if we need to resolve it, there's only one way that we may try to engage. This 4 months back, our Honorable External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar visited for a SCO summit in Pakistan. So last year, their foreign minister also visited India for G20. So, sir, visits like these could become an opportune moment for maybe initiating dialogue and feel some positivity in the blooded relationship.
So who is our current external affairs secretary?
So I think, sir, it is Honorable Miss Vikram Misri. I think so.
Okay.
So.
How do you define the diplomacy?
So diplomacy is an art of getting something done without using any coercive means. It is using consent based process where you do not need to use military or hard power. You use dialogue, you use means which are peaceful and get things done. So that is diplomacy, I think so.
Okay. So
So,
should we say that this international diplomacy has died? It's the end of international diplomacy. Looking at all the conflicts around the world, the aggressiveness, the American president that he's showing. So can we say that we have reached a time where the international diplomacy has ended?
so although I would say that there is a backlash on how diplomacy is being played out, and many countries are becoming inward looking. For instance, sir, United States also has initiated MAGA, Make America Great Again. So policies like these definitely harm the order and international diplomacy. But also, sir, I would say that diplomacy has not completely died down. So it could be witnessed when we have climate change conferences and issues of common concern. So there could be see where we could witness that the diplomacy is still playing its role. And sir, in terms of how uh, if we take example of how India is engaging with Russia, Ukraine, and United States, China, we are managing multiple actors without using any coercive means. So there also I see diplomacy playing a role.
What is the relationship between democracy and culture?
So democracy basically is how where people are empowered to take their decisions. And culture could be connected to democracy if a country or a region has a culture which is embedded in the democratic process. For instance, sir, in ancient Greece, we had processes like direct democracy in the polis, city-state. So there we could say that the democratic process was embedded in the part of the culture of the people, that they will decide laws collectively and do things collectively. So this could be also said at in the Panchayati Raj institutions in India, where so direct democracy has become a part of how people solve their conflicts or take processes of development, etc. So,
Then going by this argument, don't you think it is unreasonable to expect democracy to take root in countries like China or Middle East? Why impose it? Let's say in Afghanistan.
so with the primacy of liberal international order, it is believed that democracy is the form of government which is which is good in terms of how it provides empowers people than other form of government. For instance, sir, in China we have one
But if,
party rule.
if the
In Middle
culture of
East.
the land doesn't support it, is it going to
So,
survive or go?
so definitely, sir, culture is has a very important role to play, and it is believed there is a theory, Asian values theory, in which, sir, it is believed that Asian countries have their own past, have their own history, and democratic system might not suit them. So, sir, in that regard, I think we need a balance here where people, though, should have a voice, but it should be embedded in their own culture, how their culture historically has evolved. So, it should be a gradual process rather than imposition, as has happened, sir.
What is the latest news about South Korea as of today or as of yesterday?
So, yesterday, sir, presidential security, Yoon Suk Yeol's arrest was evaded by the presidential security. Sir, after that, I think, sir, there is a anti-corruption agency which has intervened in this, sir, that I read last.
Okay. So when you see such developments in such advanced economies,
So,
uh, what is your inference?
so my first inference is that democracies which have so particularly in South Korean example, if I take that democracies who have long been following a process of where people are empowered can also go haywire if people do not have constant check on the rulers. So I feel, sir, people should always be uh, participative in the governmental process. And sir, martial law was also evaded because people were aware about their democratic rights. So I think, sir, my influence is that people should always be aware and have a check on their rulers so that democracy could continue, sir.
But in India, I think we lack that mechanism. Like how will you keep your MLA, in check as an ordinary citizen? What are the avenues or mechanism available for you?
Sir, India has a representative model of democracy, and definitely we do not have some precise devices. However, at the same time, sir, we have certain platforms where we could register our concern. For instance, My Government portal is there. Apart from this, sir, there is,
Nobody sees my government portal.
sir,
It is not accessible to common people. I mean, it is accessible, but the common people don't go and somebody like illiterate, a youth
sir,
who hasn't got the education in the village.
sir, definitely, sir, I would agree on that, sir. Uh,
Is
sir,
it possible to create, such instruments or avenues where accountability can be fixed, where there can be a constant interaction between the representative and the electorate?
sir, on that part, I think MPs and MLAs, one solution could be there should be a constant visit, at least uh, in a 3 months or 4 months time, where they should have session. Technology could be used in this regard. For instance, I am having a meeting with you on Zoom, so this could also be used where people are connected with their MLA or representative and they are having a dialogue or something like that. So that could be a mechanism of direct accountability. Apart from this, sir, panchayati raj institutions or local bodies, they could also play a role in this.
So, you know, one last question.
So
Can you talk about educational inequality in India? Like, in villages, at especially primary levels, you
so
have this ongoing phenomenon where almost every village is getting its own private school, or near to a village there is going to be a private school, and most of the parents prefer to send their children to private school, not to the
so
government school. And even Anganwadis, even their situation is also not so good, right? Qualitatively
so
speaking. Uh,
yes, sir.
the parents prefer to send them to play school, and nursery is private, LKG, UKG, right? Uh, what is the solution here? I mean, why we have such a system in place in the first place? And second question, what are the consequences of it? Right. And third, what is the solution for it?
So we have such a situation where the education, government education system or Anganwadi centers, uh, do not have a quality mechanism where they can serve people. So this has many reasons, sir. Uh, One could be, sir, there is a lack of funding. So we have education expenditure on education and health, which is less than 2-3% of the GDP. Even though in the new education policy, it was said that 6% education GDP would be there, but it has not been done yet. And sir, health also in the National Health Policy 2017, it was pledged to be approx 3%, but is still less. So that is a lack of funding, and that creates a second problem, which is infrastructure. There is very limited usage of technology. In many primary schools, there is no washroom, or if it is there, it is in bad quality. So in my village, where I still lived in, my formative years were there. So there is a particular problem of teacher absenteeism also, where teacher is not coming and students are going there, but they are facing several problems. So if I talk about consequences of this, one, sir, as you have mentioned that the many parents uh, push their children to private schools, and so the problem here arises. the people who do not have that capacity to afford the private school. So that creates exclusion and deprivation. And that deprivation has again consequences on their employability. So they will take up meager works, and that cycle, vicious cycle of poverty will continue generation by generation. So there, I think that is the most saddened consequence of this. And so solution, if I talk about, one is, sir, again, we need to work on the funding aspect. We need to enhance funding that would make infrastructure better. Also, sir, for teacher absenteeism and others policies, we can, so district administration has an important role to play to ensure that the government schools have a smooth functioning. Teachers are present there. Maybe, sir, online attendance system, which has been introduced in my state, so that could also be implemented more properly. So that would enhance and keep a check on the teacher. Moreover, sir, we also need to make citizens aware about the value of education, etc. And sir, teacher training and capacity building. Sir, in Delhi, we have followed a model of Germany, where teachers are trained. We have sent teachers outside, and that had positive impacts. So that could be followed in other states as well. So
Okay, thank you.
thank you, sir.
So, what is your opinion on your own performance, self-assessment?
Sir, I think more I can read and make credible arguments in some answers, particularly international relations. But I think it was fine. So
You did well. You will easily get 190 plus. So
thank you,
there
sir.
is analytical thinking, bit of critical thinking. So these elements are evident in most of the answers. So you are
Sir,
also trying to think and bring something new on the table, like new perspective. Also. It is
sir,
not you are not giving the obvious answer, like in many cases. That's a good
sir,
quality. I won't be surprised if it goes above 200 easily, right? So something like
thank
190, 193, I think you can easily walk out with. And also there is honesty in your answers. There is also humility, and also you're confident, relaxed. So like
sir.
you are teaching all the qualities, but in like last question, I think the consequences part from the perspective of inequality, it could have been bit more deeper the answer. If
Sir,
only from the perspective of what it results like pushing parents to send children to private schools,
sir,
but
I think I missed the women part also in this.
like that it is basically educational inequality, so
Sir,
it results in many other forms of inequalities, like
sir,
including economic inequality, right?
sir,
So how it deprives a generation of students
sir,
opportunity to realize their potential and contribute to nation building. So you could have talked about few extra points there.
sir.
Barring one or two, it's fine. Like, overall, it is good. Overall, it's fine. The global order, international order, I think it is in reverse. Global order is something where a country dictates, like US hegemony, China trying to alter the global order.
Sir,
International is more formal setup, driven by international rules, laws, institutions. So you can verify it. Okay, this is what I understand.
okay, sir.
So when I asked the question about guitar, there was initial fumbling. Like you brought the India dimension and then you went to the Spain, and then the answer was smooth. But I don't know why that fumbling was there. Like make it smooth, the answer when it is related to hobby or something.
Hmm.
Culture and geopolitics, you miss the China dimension. So don't always focus on the India dimension, right? So try
Sir,
to bring some different perspectives from across the world, right?
hmm.
And when conceptual questions come,
Sir,
if you're not very clear about the definition, but you know what it is.
sir,
But if you have difficulty putting it in clear words, right? Maybe you can
sir,
take the permission, right?
sir.
It didn't happen here, but that global order, international order was
Sir, I
something.
think I should have taken permission, sir.
Exactly. It was conclusive, like you said, as if you know the only while talking about global order that came up. like in my opinion, something like that. But it should have
Sir.
been in the beginning only, right?
Sir.
So overall, good. I mean, good candidate. You'll do well in the real interview, and your DAF is also good. There is continuity with respect to education, and nowadays they prefer people who have done masters, and people with as less attempts as possible. If they are going for interview, they value that also, and you are also showing good maturity in your answers. So I think you will definitely get good marks. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.